Hey, everybody, welcome back. I hope you're feeling super energized and ready to receive beyond anything else because I have my special friend, Betty, here with me today. Betty, say hello to everybody.
Hi, I'm Betty Campagna, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm excited for this journey. Let's go.
Yay. This is a really important space. And it was probably one of my, and I don't know if it was my hardest one to fill or if it was just I was waiting for you and I to be in a space together, and have that light bulb click. But mastering self-worth is a big deal and it's really hard for a lot of people. And I love how you do your work, and in your work it brings that key to personal excellence in there for everybody. So Betty, if you wouldn't mind, right? Like you describe self-awareness and acceptance as that first step towards self-worth. So can you share with us what it really means in context and why accepting ourselves, flaws and all, is such a critical part of our journey?
Absolutely. So for me, just first off, listening to myself, my body, my yeses, my nos, knowing my strengths, my weaknesses, knowing what I'm good at, knowing what I need improvement at, and allowing myself the grace to be okay with that, and giving myself the time to work on me. It's so important, right? We don't do that, especially I think a lot as women. We continue to give to others, our kids, our husbands, our careers. And what I've found for me, the most important part is for me first is honoring God, and then I'm the next most important person in my life. I have to take care of me, and that means, the good, the bad, the everything. But I know by knowing myself and my own self-awareness, I know how to take care of me. I know my emotions. If I'm too emotional that day, I'm not, emotions are high, intelligence is low, I'm not making any decisions. I need to have good self-care. I am the most important person in this journey. And so I think that's the key to it, and allowing ourselves to be that person and have that space.
You said a couple of things, right? And one being, give yourself, grace, and and to put yourself first, um and knowing, right? Knowing, how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, how I'm whatever, like, so you say some things, that are really important, but and I don't like to use that word. Let's just say, however, right? So someone that is listening, so many people are just truly, they've been disconnected from any kind of level of awareness, and you know for years, and some maybe have never known how to give themselves grace. There's this constant pressure to perform. So anyway, you get where I'm going with that. So how does someone do that very first starting point of becoming self-aware when they're like, okay, that's great, Betty, like, you can give yourself grace, but you know I'm a perfectionist.
Right, absolutely. And I think it's honestly starting by recognizing just your body. We go so fast and so hard sometimes. When you get headaches or you're tired, you're exhausted, we just don't even allow ourselves the time. And even if it's just that 8 minutes before you go to sleep, that you're winding down, you're just allowing yourself to listen to your body. How is it feeling? Engage that way. Just start with that. Or it could be first thing in the morning, allowing yourself that, if it's you got to get up 5 minutes earlier, just to allow yourself to have that time to think. It's whatever works for you. If it's walking outside, getting in nature. For me personally, it's I get up and I read my Bible or my devotion, and I walk outside and I get sun on my face, and I just make that intentional time. And it wasn't always that easy. And you have all these limited beliefs and all this coding, right, that we have. that we have to kind of let go of. And I know that's on another level, but we have all these messages. We have to go, we have to do this. You're not, you can't take time for yourself. You have to work hard, everybody has to be taken care of first, and just taking a deep breath. I really am a big believer in breathing. And even small as, taking deep breaths, mindfulness, meditation, if it's saying a prayer, walking outside, even as little as, and I did this, I've been on this journey for a long time, and it's still every single day trying to do 1% better. I don't care what, okay. So I allowed myself the time today to have my own cup of coffee, to read, what I wanted to, read the Bible, to walk outside, to take that 5 minutes in the evening after everybody else, my time, just allowing those things. And even, this may sound crazy, but it works. Sticking Post-it notes all over, positive affirmations. I am worthy. I deserve this. I am a child of God. I want to be the best me, whatever it is, until you actually, it takes 21 days to change a habit, until you, consistency, and every day allowing yourself the grace to know that every day is not the same, and every day you're not going to be perfect, and this too shall pass.
That's juicy. I like that. So, everybody listening, I hope you had your pen, your paper, or your download, your reflection sheet out, something to be taking notes, because Betty just gave you a series of practical tips that you can, try, test for yourself, implement, whatever, right? So if you need to, push pause, rewind, come back later with a pen and paper, whatever it is, but get those written down so you can add, edit, delete, change, shift, morph them but they give you that starting point. Now, something else that you speak about that resonates deeply within my soul, and that's empowerment through purposeful action. So tell us a little bit about, how does taking action aligned with one's own values contribute to building long-term self-worth?
So if you believe in what you're doing, or where you're going, your values, align with, you want to be in a team with all positive people, because the negative people bring you down. And you navigate towards friends that are more positive, or have boundaries with family members that aren't so positive, right? You're aligning your own values, and taking actions. And that's like, okay, so maybe it's, I do have to let go of these friends, or I do have to let go of these family members, or have boundaries because they are negative and they're taken away from me, right? And that, that could be one goal. You just kind of start the separation there. It could be as easy as, oh, I want to do this. I want to, I'm working in fast food and I'd really love to do hair, right? And you start with something small, a small goal, getting information, right? Finding out what you want. It's the things that make you happy, and aligning your actions with those. And it's different for everybody. So I believe that you have to figure out what it is for you first, that what your values and goals are. For me, I just know that God has given me a heart to help people. And if you knew my story, I've been through lots and lots of hurdles, right? So many, but the big picture is that I'm dedicated to, no matter what, giving up, staying the course, and being better, and being the vision that God had for me. And sometimes that's really hard, like in our own self, for me to see, wow, so how can I be that good, or how can God love me, But really, it was in a Bible study one day where I heard that God thinks that we're more beautiful than an ocean. And that was like, wow, if he thinks that, then I must be, and I am. And I may not feel like it, but if I just continue to do the course, go the course, no matter how I'm feeling, and being, showing up for ourselves, right? That's such a confidence builder. We set a goal, oh, we're going to go to this meeting, we're going to, meet our friend for coffee. being true to ourselves and showing up, that builds our own self-esteem and our own self-awareness and confidence.
I love that. And I think you're 100% right. And, it's a challenge that I work on with my clients, and my team, the other coaches in my practice, we work on all the time, always knowing and being willing to make adjustments as they grow, but our values. If you don't know what you value, right, and there's a few others that go into that perspective, but for this conversation, right, like we have to know what our value system is, and in order to make right, true connections and to choose those actions. And so what I find is people become overwhelmed when it comes to taking action. And I think a lot of the times it's because, one, they don't know what they value. They just know they want whatever outcome this is, and they just, they really haven't decided their what and their why. And they've just stepped into the how. And so they get overwhelmed. So in that space, what advice would you give to someone who wants to take that first step towards true empowerment, but doesn't know where to start?
Allowing themselves the time just to reflect and pray, or just spend time with themselves to figure out what that is, and to break whatever goal that is. It doesn't have to be huge steps, but it can be baby steps. If you want to plant a garden, you have to go out there first and pull the weeds, and then you have to sow the soil, right? And then you have to go out there and you got to plant the seeds, and then you got to water it, and then it's little sprouts that come up. So it's one little tiny thing at a time, one step, and everything. And this is too, writing a goals sheet or goals list, I think is really huge. I don't care what it is, if it's 50 things, 10 things, 3 things, just checking that off. That's so empowering, right? Like, wow, I did this today. I do even little things. I don't care. I went to the grocery store. I folded my laundry, whatever, big and small, and I mark it off. I mailed this letter, and it's accomplishment. It starts building your own self-esteem. So my biggest advice would be just to start small. And again, we are so hard on ourselves. Just allow yourself the grace to, this is not going to happen overnight, and it's a continuous process, but through action, mindset action, you will get there.
Wow. And so this brings us to, something critical, because if we don't have this, what I'm about to say, we still remain stuck, and that's resilience and a growth mindset. So resilience being, a key part of this, third pillar that we're in this conversation. I'm sure that there's plenty of people that would benefit from understanding why resilience is so essential to maintaining self-worth. And then, on the back half of that, how can we develop it in the face of life's challenges?
That is a wonderful question, and something that definitely that is one of the biggest parts. Resilience is, no matter what we go through, right? Whatever challenges that we're faced with. I used to have the mindset of, this is happening. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? I'm trying so hard. This is happening. Instead of that, it's mindset of, this is happening to me, right? This is happening not to me, but this is happening for me. There's a reason and a purpose, and there's a lesson, and I'm going to learn from it. And I can teach someone else, or, instead of just being the victim. And just that perspective changed everything for me. I was able to look at things in more, regardless what it was, in a positive outlook. And you know what, whether I like it or not, there's a reason, and I'm going to grow from this, and staying the course, no matter what happened, that I am dedicated to being better, doing better, and I'm not gonna give up. And the more things that we go through and overcome, right? We get through this, wow, it gives us confidence. We just got through that. Holy smokes, what's next, right? And it just makes us, empowers us. And trust me, I have been the warrior. And I can step up and take a lot of action and fight dragons and all that stuff, slay dragons in my life, but I'd much rather be the princess, right? But I can be both. But all of that in my journey has helped me to become the person that I am, the woman that I am. And it's the woman that God's cultivated my heart to be who I am and to help other people. But it wouldn't have happened without those challenges and, those setbacks and resilience, right?
I wholeheartedly agree when people ask me if, I had my life to do over again, if I would do it differently. And whenever I answer no, a lot of times I hear the response of, like, well, you shared that, all of these really big, hard things, wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to endure those? And no, because, like I might come, if I didn't go through those things, I might be a shallow person anyway, but, so I think this is going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but I think in the world and the way we operate today and the way we talk about and describe things, there's a lot of overlap. And I was talking about this in my portion, but there's a lot of whitewashing and broad brushing of words and terms. So resilience and a growth mindset, very similar. However, that growth mindset is what truly allows us to actually see all of our setbacks as opportunities. So can you give us, more examples or an example of how this mindset shift can turn adversity into an actual stepping stone for growth?
Okay, absolutely. I'm going to share this, and I hope my son and his friend are okay with it, but it's a personal story. So I had one of my sons, his best friend wanted to go in the military. Did the ASVAB, ready to go, 18 years old, the weekend before he was supposed to go to boot camp. He got in a car accident, and it changed his whole direction, right? He was pretty down for a while, and he talked to some pastors, he talked to some counselors, and ultimately it was a drinking episode. And so what he wanted to do was, okay, this was my dream, but maybe God has something bigger. And by not being able to have that goal and that dream, it changed to another direction, something else for him. To school, he started taking speaking classes, he started volunteering, and this young man, I'm so proud to say, is just amazing what he's, the career to do and how much he honors himself and honors God in this. Is that what you're looking for?
I think, well, it's important because, there's, so many people listening. We don't know how they're going to hear it best. So I do believe that, personal stories and examples actually help people, connect on a deeper level. So no, that was wonderful. But okay, so that's great. And that actually illuminates this next thing. And we can just talk about it from a different angle or perspective. But, people struggle with the whole bouncing back concept, right? They just don't bounce back from setbacks. And they instead, sit in feeling discouraged or, cut off at the knees, for lack of a better phrase, right? So how do those folks that just really, get stuck, get stuck for good chunks of time whenever they have that face back, how can they begin to cultivate that resilience and adopt a more growth mindset in their day-to-day life?
Right. And I think sometimes it happens just, it doesn't happen overnight, and it has to be a decision, but it can be a decision that it could be listening to a podcast or going to even, I read a devotion today, and no matter what we're going through, some days it's sunny, right? And it's easy to find the joy. And some days we have this disaster, But regardless, if we just kind of keep focusing on the good and focusing on our connection with God, and I know not everybody here is as spiritual as I am, but for me, or whatever that is, something bigger than you, something greater than yourself. And for me, it's God. It can be a mentor, just anything that's going to get you out of that. If it's getting up and taking a walk, and even just the absolute, there's power in getting outside, having green plants around you, the small things. And it really goes with a decision. I make this decision. I don't want to do this. And hey, baby steps. It may just be some days putting your feet on the floor, right? And that's it. Just getting up and getting out of bed and deciding, oh, I did that today. And then maybe tomorrow it's brushing your teeth. And then, maybe I'm going to eat breakfast at day 3. It's small changes, but know that whatever you're going through or whatever happened, there's a reason, and there's a reason and a lesson in it, and you don't have to stay stuck. So just small baby steps, and it will eventually, you go the course, one thing at a time.
I love that. I love that. Now, I'm going to connect some dots here, right? So we're going to connect the 3 of these primary things that we talked about. We call them pillars, right? Self-awareness, empowerment through action, and resilience. They're clearly interconnected. So how do they work together, though, to create a foundation for personal excellence?
Well, I really believe it's all 3, right? So self-awareness, really knowing yourself, hey, am I taking on too much? Listening to your intuition, your instincts, what is it? Just listening and allowing. I'm telling you what, I love it when my kids and my family are proud of me, but there is nothing better than me being proud of myself. I get more joy, and hey, some people may be that selfish. No, I am self-full. And that's been a lifelong process for me, but hey, we can be expanders, and we can help you take this piece and say, hey, you are worthy, you are worth it. And you know what? Just take the time to allow yourself to do that. So knowing your emotions, knowing, the things that you're not good at it. So maybe that'll motivate you to do something else. And really listening, knowing your own self-awareness is, if someone says to you, I'll give you an example. Well, can you come over and take care of the kids on Sunday? And in your mind, you're like, no way, I got all this stuff going on. So if it's a yes, it's automatic. It's a yes. If it's a maybe, it's a no. Don't even go there. But allow yourself. You gotta know yourself, right? You gotta listen to yourself. And then for action, like I said, continuously just take actions. And one thing I really wanted to touch on too is journaling. You guys, journaling is an action. It's releasing whatever is going on in your head. There's power in that, and you write it onto a piece of paper. There's power in that, and there's a release. So if that's even an action you can do, that's doing something. And resilience, things are going to happen, but no matter what, you stay the course, right? Okay, man, this happened, it sucks, but am I gonna crawl in bed and not get out? Sometimes it feels like that, you guys, and that's the reality. That's the truth of the matter. And just personally, for my own self, this year has really been, it's been a challenging year. I lost my mom and my grandma in the same year. And so I was at that place like, oh, I don't think I can remember feeling so much pain, right? But no matter what, you allow yourself the time to grieve, but you get up and you keep going the course, no matter how hard. And everybody has their own examples and different things. But I promise you, if I wasn't dedicated to myself and those 3 pillars, self-worth, movement and action, and resilience, I couldn't do that. And if I can do it, you can do it.
Right? So, I want to make sure that we, do this full circle. So I'm going to lean into a couple more things that probably are going to equate to, I don't know, 3 or 4 more little questions. But, if there's one thing you want participants to walk away with as soon as we hit end, right? What would that be?
That you are worth it. Okay, you're worth it, and just you're worth it.
Just
You are worth it, and you deserve it, and God made you, and you are worth it. And we sell ourselves short. Don't listen to that. Listen to just, hey, hear me after this. Here, put it on, record, replay. You are worth it.
amen to that. Right? My motto is this is my life too. It gets to look, feel, be however I want it to. I get to choose.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so how can mastering self-worth fundamentally change the way someone approaches not just their personal life, but their professional life and relationships?
So, in your, so you said personal, professional, and the relationships.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have an amazing relationship with yourself. You're going to put you first, right? Wow, you have no idea how empowering that is. You are your best friend. There's nothing like it. It's crazy to look at you guys and say, hey, that's the truth. But it is. I am my most important person other than God. And when I am that person, man, my cup runneth over. I can help everybody. I can be the best Betty. I can just go the extra mile, but I am none of that without taking care of me first. Okay. And then professionally, I'm able to help others. My values align with my actions, what I do, what I say. I every single day try to be 1% better, regardless what it is, you guys. And this is a lifetime journey, and just give yourself grace, right? But really, this is so me. This is my whole life. I've been working on myself for 24 years, right? And I was just a young puppy, not knowing what the heck was going on. And I mean, really, just even in the last couple years, I talk about expanders. Listen, it's the small, little, tiny things. You are worth it. I don't care what anybody says. You deserve it. Whatever you want to do, you set your mind. You can live the best life. You can live in gratitude. You can change your thinking. Neuroplasticity. Our brains are plastic. We can rewire that stuff. It takes work, but stay the course, and baby steps. Remember me here in baby steps. You got to go out there and pull the weeds first. Man, some of them got really deep weeds. So get out there and get pulling. And then relationships. You build trust. Your family can know what to expect. You have, just trust, love, respect, mutual respect for one another, and time. For me, one of those things is time with my family, and that's huge. And so allowing myself to do that, and all my relationships are better because I put me first.
I love that. I think it's critically important. And if we wrapped it all up, right, it would be, live for yourself first without feeling guilty, selfish, punished, or restricted.
Absolutely.
And that's just how we talk about it in my practice, but it's the same, right? It's the same concept. And spirituality is unique to everyone. So, add, edit, delete, change, shift, morph it, whatever that looks like for you. I happen to be one of those that is, God, universe, and earth, like all of it. Like I need them all, right? And so, what I was saying there, which was, this is my life too. It gets to look, feel, be however I want it to. I get to choose. That means I also get to give that to every other being on the planet. And I don't know how you feel about this, but we can lean into this as our closing thought. But everything that you've said today, I feel that there's one screaming element that folks could stand to benefit from if they want to actually, right, feel that self-worth and personal excellence. And that would be to learn how to get out of that stance of a judger. And that means judging yourself, judging your neighbors, judging other people in your communities, judging other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, opinions. Like, get out of the judging and find a way to get into a stance of a learner and in acceptance.
Absolutely.
I don't know how that resonates with your practice, but I would imagine that acceptance of others is in there.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And no expectations, because they're going to do what they're going to do, and just accepting and loving them the way that they are. And accepting ourselves is one of the hardest challenges, right?
Right.
Just
But
accepting.
would you say that, we can be accepting of, people might not like it when I say, this is my time. I have to put me first. We have to be in acceptance that it's okay for them not to like that.
Exactly. And probably 90% of the time they won't at first, right? They're going to be like, what? So it's going to be a shift, right? It's going to be a shift for everybody. But yeah, accepting that you are worth it. And they're going to be and do who they are. But what kind of life do you want to live? And you can't do that without taking the time and allowing yourself to be self-full. It's self-full, it's not selfish.
Yeah. And giving others that grace by accepting them for, how they are. And just last little tidbit, but maybe a really great visual is, we have that sphere of influence. We've got our nucleus, our internal circle, our inner circle, our outer circle. I go with the toxic and anunya, right? Like, because I like to have those layers. But what people don't realize is, even those folks that are in our nucleus can have certain things that we have to accept about them, but it's also okay for us to put that thing into the toxic. So it might be a topic, it could be politics, it could be spirituality, it could be whatever it is, it could be human rights, it could be, like the world is very divided right now in a lot of things. And so it's okay to still love that person and for them to still be, that close, whatever, but accept them for their differing view and opinion. But, just put that over here in the toxic. And when that's the thing, you just.
Absolutely. That was so wonderfully said, Trisha. Oh my gosh, you hit the hammer on the nail there. Absolutely. And that's a way of protecting our own self-worth too, right? And our own self-esteem and what we want to allow in our space.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are all unique individual beings. And if we connect ourselves with that inner adolescent who didn't want to be told what to do by anybody, right? We have to take note from that, right? Like you were rebellious at one point in time in your life and you just wanted to, become who you wanted to be. Well, everybody else was that way also. And they just want to be who they want to be. And that's fine. If you don't like to be told what to do, how to think, how to feel, how to act, how to anything, neither does anybody else. So, if we can just stay in that stance of a learner or in a stance of acceptance, if you don't have the desire to learn, right? I often lean in and say, like, help me understand. Like, I'm interested, I'm intrigued. Help me understand, how did you come to think, feel, or believe that? And then, cool, I don't have to say anything else. I can just say, oh, thank you. I can ask, hey, are you interested in hearing?
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts, feelings, and opinions on that, it's a little bit different. Are you interested in hearing? Let them say no, if not, because otherwise you're wasting your breath and energy. And then you can say, wow, interesting that we have, such, and neither one of us have to, want to meet in the middle or come to the other side of the other. And it's not about persuasion. It's about acceptance and being more interested than interesting sometimes. Going like, wow, like, thank you for sharing that perspective. And, I have a deeper understanding of people different than me.
Right.
And cool. Like, learn. Anyway, I could go on a high horse on that. Benny, I want to thank you so much. And I know that you created some really cool tools for people to use. There's the reflection sheet down below, guys, that goes with the things that we were talking about here in this. But she also has given us a really amazing free gift for you to utilize in your day-to-day life as well. So make sure that you connect with me so they can give it to you. Anyway, Betty, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a blessing and an honor.